Exxon Mobil announces successful completion of LNG Project. Department heads for Treasury and Community Development confirmed. And Daru Hospital summons leaders for negligence.
This is National EMTV News with Tokana Hasavi.
Good evening and thanks for joining us for Friday's news. As always, good to have your company. Exxon Mobil today announced the successful achievement of its financial completion of the PNG LNG project. Exxon's Managing Director Andrew Barry says this guarantees commencement of the release of loan payments and core venture distributions. He says the project will place PNG in a comfortable position as the demand for gas in the Asia-Pacific increases.
Despite the ongoing fluctuations in oil and gas prices in the world market, Exxon Mobil's new Managing Director Andrew Barry says the PNG LNG project is pushing limits in driving the country's economy. The project financial completion is a milestone for the company by satisfying all of the financial completion tests set out in the project's financial arrangements. Yesterday, the head of Exxon addressed the Leaders Summit in Port Moresby, saying the acceleration of the project will support PNG as demand for gas rise in the next 3 decades in the Asia-Pacific region.
Do not underestimate the confidence that PNG LNG's reputation will give others as they consider investing in this great country.
The PNG LNG project has shipped 65 LNG cargoes to its customers with a expenditure of 650 million kina in infrastructure development.
The PNG LNG project is just at the beginning of its multi-decade production life. And already you can see the impact from the successful construction and early startup on the economy.
Barry says the integrated effort by all stakeholders in the successful operation of the project is key to see PNG reap benefits through development of roads, bridges, education and health. Jack Lapave Jr., National EMTV News.
The Personnel Management Department has announced the substantive appointments for key central agencies in Papua New Guinea. The new appointments are for the Community Development and Treasury Departments. NTV's Fabian Hakelitz reports.
Personnel Management Department Secretary John Kali, in an interview with MTV, announced the new departmental heads. Community Development is Anna Solomon and Treasury Dari Vele. Applications were selected as per requirements, criteria and for experiences within the public service system.
Also is a very impressive young man. Will take on the reign as Secretary for Treasury. And we all at the central agency look forward to working with him to deliver services. The other substantive appointment is the Secretary for Community Development. Again, a key appointment. Some controversy over the last 3 or 4 years, but all that is now behind us with the appointment of Anna Solomon. I've spoken with Anna Solomon to move quickly and clean up the department.
Several public service figures were reappointed, including Personnel Management Department Secretary himself, John Kali, and Justice Secretary Lawrence Kalino.
On government and the Minister for Public Service in their confidence in me to continue to deliver for the public service in Papua New Guinea. And the other one is Lawrence Kalino, who has been reappointed for a further term of 4 years as Secretary for Justice, clearly showing that he's a capable man to lead the law and justice sector in his capacity as Secretary for Justice.
Secretaries' positions for finance with national planning and monitoring departments have been re-advertised. 2 other appointments are for East New Britain and Madang Provincial Administration and are in the final stages of being processed for consideration by their respective provincial executive council.
We've advertised, and shortly after the profiling, that will be going up to Cabinet in the next 3 or 4 weeks.
Under the new Public Service Management Act 2014, all departmental heads, provincial administrators, chief executive officers will now be required to sign the innovative performance management contracts to measure performance and outcomes. Fabian Hakelitz, National MTV News.
A biofuel project has been launched today at the Pacific Adventist University. This is a research initiative by the School of Science and Technology at PAU, established to encourage and support the recycling of waste cooking oil into biodiesel. It was established in 2010 as a pilot study and has received funding support from the national government through the Department of Higher Education and the PNG Science and Technology Secretariat.
The use of fossil fuel in PNG could well be replaced by biofuel. Production may be expensive, but steps have been taken to carry out research into its production and use. Outside Port Moresby, a group of scientists from the Pacific Adventist University School of Science and Technology have already begun the process. They showcase the use of biofuel as an alternative to fossil fuel. Chief Executive Officer of PNG Science and Technology Secretariat, Professor Teatulohi Matainaho, was impressed with the progress so far. Much of the biofuel used in the vehicles were converted using waste cooking oil. Last year, the Secretariat assisted with 150,000 kina, and today it presented a second funding component of 100,000 kina for the biofuel project. Professor Matainaho says with global warming becoming a concern the world over, PNG has a responsibility to identify solutions to this phenomena. Venturing into the production and use of biofuel could well be the answer. Mickey Cavera, National MTV News.
The Frida River Copper Gold Project in the West Sepik province has been seeing progress since Australian miner PanAust Limited acquired a majority interest in the project in August last year. A drill program is underway as part of PanAust's feasibility study for the project. The study is scheduled to be completed by the end of this year.
A cocktail function was held on Thursday evening to mark PanAust's entry into Papua New Guinea through the Frida River Copper Gold Project. PanAust is a copper and gold producer in Southeast Asia and has a portfolio of organic growth projects in Laos, Chile, and now in Papua New Guinea. Treasury Minister and Chairman of the Ministerial Economic Committee, Patrick Pruij, said there is a greater expectation by the government towards its newest partner. PanAust Limited owns 80% of the Frida River Copper Gold Project, with Highlands Pacific holding the remaining 20%. Upon grant of a special mining lease, the government of PNG has a right to acquire, at a cost, up to a 30% interest in the Frida River project.
The government of our country, including the impacted provinces of East and West Sepik, are hopeful that PanAust will bring the lessons and experiences gained from its projects to inform its delivery and operation of Frida River project. At the same time, the government will use its recent experiences, including the delivery of PNG LNG project, to support the transaction of the Frida River project.
Treasurer Pruij said the government is clear about its obligations to its people, and in particular, the isolated communities along the Frida and Nena rivers. The government will do all it can to facilitate the development of this untapped resource for the benefit of PanAust, Highlands Pacific, and the people of PNG. Frida River is one of the largest known underdeveloped copper and gold deposits in the world and offers PanAust excellent potential for the establishment of a long-life operation. PanAust Managing Director Dr. Fred Hez is currently in PNG with the company's board of directors to inspect the Frida River project site, talk to local landowners and village representatives, and to meet senior government ministers and officials.
From PanAust's point of view in coming to invest in Papua New Guinea again, one of the key things was that this mineral resource is a high degree of confidence that it exists. When we saw Frida for the first time, we saw not challenges so much, but things that looked like they were similar to what we've done before. And so I suppose when we looked at Frida, we came with a certain amount of confidence that we could do something with this project.
A geotechnical and hydrogeological drill program is underway as part of PanAust's feasibility study for the project. The feasibility study is scheduled to be completed by the end of this year. Also, work on an environmental impact assessment is underway to ensure environmental impacts are clearly understood, appropriately managed and minimized. Delhi Bagu, National MTV News.
Works Department Secretary David Were, in his presentation at the Leadership Summit, said roads play an important role in socio-economic development. With this in mind, the government plans to revive the Plant Transport Division within the Works and Implementation Department to fix more roads and connect missing road links. So far, more than 700 million kina worth of road projects are currently under construction, with missing links in East and West New Britain to be connected soon.
Maintenance of 4,000 kilometers of national roads that are in good condition.
In his presentation, Secretary Were said all current asset value of national roads in their present condition is about 35 billion kina. He said top priority is to connect missing road links that will open up economic corridors.
We continue to upgrade and seal those gravel sections we have on the national highways and continue to maintain what is already in good condition.
In its performance presentation, some of the work progress includes 45 to 70 kilometers of Leh City roads upgraded to concrete roads. Work on the Buluminski Highway, completion of roadworks from Menyamya, Aseki to Bulolo Road Junction. 20% of roadworks completed to connect missing link from Hela, Southern Highlands through to Gulf. 15 kilometers of roadworks have been completed for the Gulf to Morobe Highway. Tabubil Teleforming Road has seen 7 kilometers completed, while 8 kilometers of roadworks for Medang Baya. Works contractors have progressed 16 kilometers of Gambok to Bundi Road. In the past, the Plant and Transport Division was an important division that was responsible for many of the roads constructed throughout the country. Reviving it would mean roads can be constructed at low cost by the government's contractors using its own engineers and technical staff. However, Secretary Were says some of the challenges they face include retaining qualified engineers and technical staff, most of whom have left to join private contractor companies in pursuit of better working conditions. Despite this, he says there's been progress with over 462 kilometers of national and provincial roads upgraded and sealed. Bridget Komatep, National MTV News.
And National MTV News continues. The TB epidemic in Western Province, also neglected waste at the country's major hospital grounds, and a review of the Stanley Gas Project. I'll bring you those stories and more after the break. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the news. Staff of Daro General Hospital, South Fly District in Western Province are likely to summon the Fly River Provincial Government and their parliamentarians for negligence and failure to address the escalating tuberculosis drug resistance issue. The epidemic is now beyond their control and the hospital has exhausted resources, waiting only for miracles to happen. MTV's Fabian Hucklitz has more on this report.
The escalating drug-resistant tuberculosis epidemic in Daru's South Fly District of Western Province is now beyond control. This is the worst scenario that has forced Daro General Hospital staff to stage a sit-in protest on Monday this week. The series of grievances and demands were contained in a petition presented last month to the hospital's board, National Health Department, Fly River Provincial Government and stakeholders. Demands and recommendations were directed to the hospital board to take full ownership of staff's welfare, infrastructure, accommodation, risk allowances, including the management structure and a guideline for courses of actions to be taken. Infection Control TB Committee Chairman Galeva Sere said there was an immediate need to address the TB situation and hospital staff have made it their business to combat the epidemic. 9 nursing staff have contracted the dangerous TB bacteria, 8 multi-drug resistant TB treated at the general ward, while 1 with extensively drug-resistant TB is now paralyzed for life.
In 2014, we have 42, a total of 81 now. XDR TB, we have 9. 9. And that is quite alarming and increasingly in Daro Hospital.
More TB patients are admitted to the wards, resulting on overcrowding. Patients are also using the guardian rooms.
Because we feel and we see that there is a lot of influx of patients coming from the districts as a result of district health centers not functioning at the moment.
While acknowledging efforts by the Australian government and other aid donor partners in the fight against TB, staff called on provincial leaders to do more and protect people's lives.
And I thought somebody in the provincial health department was going to come and tell us, because we are the curative of services.
I think we have to give the governor and the supply member something. These little people who are at the back of the border or the treaty villages gave them that mandate for them to be in the parliament. So we have to do something about this.
Mrs. Sarah said the multi-drug resistant TB problem in Daro, Western Province, must be given priority by all levels of government and communities.
We must work together in harmony to combat this disease. I know we are being affected, but I want to thank you all for your loyalty.
Fabian Hakelitz, National MTV News.
The National Health Department needs additional funding to fully implement the National Strategic Plan 2015 to 2020 for TB control programs in the country. There's a shortfall in this year's budget appropriated by the national government. Once again, our reporter Fabian Hakelitz has more.
Papua New Guinea is ranked second in the Western Pacific region in terms of TB, which has increased in the past 5 years. According to National Health Department, the TB crisis, if not addressed urgently, will become an unmanageable national disaster. It was announced funding in this year's national budget cannot cater for the national strategic plan's full implementation. Acting TB Program Manager Dr. Margaret Carl said it cost 408 million kina to fully implement the 6 years plan. However, only 209 million kina was allocated.
But the Department of Health needs the other funding to implement TB program activities. When we talk about these activities, we are basically talking about how best we can deliver the services for quality diagnosis of TB to our people and quality management of TB to our people. And those activities actually go down to the lowest level at the community level as well.
The National Strategic Plan focus is to improve TB control activities throughout the country, including the management of hotspots, Western, Gulf and NCD.
The key to controlling TB in PNG and the best intervention that is available anywhere in the world to control TB is treatment. And treatment needs to be supported for all patients. So we need to ensure that someone who is diagnosed with TB is receiving the right treatment.
Strong government stewardship and accountability is needed, with strong coalition with partners, civil society organizations and community for effective control.
The health system that is the TB program is being delivered is actually fragile. We need the system to be strengthened, and we actually need the support not just from the community but other sectors who are already in the community delivering other services as well to support the TB program.
A brief on the TB control status in Papua New Guinea was sent to Prime Minister Peter O'Neill. Fabian Hakelitz, National MTV News.
The neglect of rubbish and bad sewage systems between two state institutions have been daily eyesores for the past year. 2 weeks ago, the Port Moresby General Hospital and the University of PNG's Medical School debated over who should take responsibility over these health hazards. It's a debate that seems to have no end in sight. These are scenes from 2 weeks ago between the medical school and POMGen. Yesterday, I visited the same location, and as you can see, not much has changed. The rubbish is still neglected and uncollected, improper drainage and sewage systems are still evident, and the recent rainfall in the city has resulted in the uncollected rubbish getting washed down the road. Glenys Rai is a second-year student in medicine, and she's had enough of these eyesores.
Well, I do think it's a disappointment that there's so much rubbish in close proximity to the hospital and also to the medical school. This should be a place of hygiene. This is also a residential area and there are lots of kids who play around here, so I really think that this should be cleaned up.
Even the nearby community is fed up with the negligence.
And bangarap now, or stop now, or payback natin na wala karib ko na sample la payback ya, or parent la kuru ni payback too na only work la la dislab na payback ya pull up logo na banana karen now ya and pull up.
The root of the debate between the hospital and UPNG is simple. POMGEN CEO Grant Muddle says the hazards are not on the hospital's land, while the UPNG administration says otherwise.
When you look at it very closely, it's the support staff from the POMGEN hospital staying around there. Has been living there for so many years. They have the responsibility for them.
According to Mr. Killer, the wastewater spillage that occurred 2 weeks ago originated from hospital staff housing, which makes POMGEN responsible for the sewage upkeep, and that's pretty much the same story for the rubbish. However, the university's hierarchy has pledged to hold talks with the POMGEN management to resolve these issues.
It is such that no one is claiming responsibility, then both parties must sit on the table to ensure that the environment is healthy.
Because it is affecting the community of the POM General Hospital as well as the patients and our students. We will solve the issue.
Professor Subarao says a letter will be written to POMGEN CEO Grant Muddle to rectify the perennial health hazards. Chief Secretary Sir Manasupe Zurinoa announced at the Leadership Summit yesterday that most government agencies have not submitted performance reports since 2013. Mr. Zurinoa said public funds should be audited and reports must be provided to ensure that there is transparency and accountability within all government sectors. He said there is room for improvement in the submission of reports from many government agencies. Eric Harupma has more on this report.
National Government Chief Secretary Sir Manasupe Zurinoa said that the Leadership Forum is an accountability mechanism on the performance of the bureaucracy in a given year. It provides a forum for local leaders led by the Prime Minister and the administrators. This is to open robust dialogue on the performance and discussion of the policy initiatives, issues and challenges of the past year and to chat out current priorities.
2 billion kina worth of road contracts, said Roy David. Between 2013 and 15, the government would have invested more than 4 billion in land transport sector. As a result, 37% of our existing roads have been improved.
While the government is focusing on providing tangible services in health, education and road infrastructure development in rural areas of PNG, allocation of government funding is diverted to all levels of governments for service delivery through the district support improvement and the provincial support improvement funds.
It is also a year where our core policy areas of our government, such as universal education, better healthcare, stronger law and order, much better infrastructure, a stronger economy, will take a much deeper root.
It is the responsibility of the administrators to acquit and provide reports on the use of these funds. National Government Chief Secretary Manasupe Zurinoa said in 2013 the administrators signed the performance agreement, and out of the 82 agreements they only received 16 reports in 2014. Zurinoa said those included in the delayed category are Tourism Promotion Authority, PNG Sports Federation, National AIDS Council and PNG Ports. Zurinoa also said that out of 22 provinces, only 10 administrators submitted their reports. Provinces which have not filed for 2 consecutive years are Milne Bay, Enga, Medang, New Ireland, East and West New Britain and Jiwaka provinces. Meanwhile, with massive rollout infrastructure development in the country, submissions of reports are priority concern for administrators. Eric Aurma, National MTV News.
The 2013 Judges Report was presented to Governor-General Sir Michael Ogiel by Chief Justice Sir Salamo India this morning. The Chief Justice says the report is different from other years, however specific details of the report were not disclosed. The presentation was made at Government House this morning.
The presentation of the 2013 Judges Report contains performance of the courts in the country with details and statistics. However, Chief Justice Sir Salamo India said specific details would not be revealed. Sir Salamo says the report was due in August last year after delays in its preparation. The judge's report is a requirement of the government and is the Chief Justice report of the legal year that gives information of both the Supreme Court and National Court's performances.
Eventually will become the property of Parliament, and I cannot disclose the content of the report in any detail.
India made it clear that the report will be made a public document after Parliament debates its contents. He says the report is finally out after the courts upgraded its technology.
But this time we are in a position to do so with some of the advancement in the case management system that we have put in place that has enabled us to collate this data in a more accurate and reasonable manner.
India is adamant the 2014 judge's report will be compiled and released on time this year. Jack Lapave Jr., National EMTV News.
The recent sharp fall in the oil prices is delaying the start of construction of a new gas project in Western Province. Mining and Petroleum Minister Nixon Duban says this has resulted in the operator, Talisman New Guinea Limited, and the government looking at alternative ways to review development options.
Stanley Gas Project is a new standalone domestic gas project targeting locals, especially buyers living around Western Province to deliver local gas. The concept of this project is that it will extract gas, recover the condensate from the gas flow, and preserve the dry gas by re-injecting it into the ground for later use. However, the project hasn't started yet as it was greatly affected by the drastic fall in oil price from $100 to $50 per barrel.
That has seriously affected the economics of the project. And they are now doing a lot of reviews on the project costs. And we think that by the end of 2015, they would have completed those project costings.
The project site is 40 kilometers north of Kiunga in Western Province. It will be developed by a joint venture of 4 developing corporations, including Talisman Energy as the operator. Some dry gas will be on sale to other domestic mining companies to be used as fuel for regional power generation. The concern now is that this project needs to start as soon as possible, as it is expected to receive a total of $204 million from its first sales.
It's become clear to the joint venture that we need to assess our options by way of reducing the cost, potentially looking at alternate smaller plant sizes to reduce the costs, and also potentially looking at options around downstream processing, as Minister mentioned.
While the fall in oil price remains, Talisman Energy General Manager Grant Christie says they will take this opportunity to meet with landowner groups to assist in the development of the project. Vasinata Yama, National EMTV News.
And now we check out the finance news. The Kina closed the same at $0.3805 in the interbank market. At Bank South Pacific, your Kina was fetching $0.374, $0.4758 Australian dollars, $0.3228 euro, and 43.52 Japanese yen. Looking at commodity prices at New York close, gold and cocoa closed lower, while coffee and copra closed higher. Palm oil, crude oil, and copper all closed the day higher. And lastly, on the stock market, the Dow Jones closed at 221 points lower, the ASX closed at 43 points higher, and the All Ordinaries closed at 50 points higher. And still to come on National EMTV News tonight, violence in public caught on camera, and more on the West Papua issue. Stay with us. Thanks for your company and welcome back to National EMTV News. In broad daylight, a young teenager captured disturbing images of a man attacking a woman meters from the newly constructed City Hall at Waigani yesterday. This mobile phone video footage showed the attacker using what appears to be a piece of wood to hit the woman, then slamming her up against the iron fence. It then turned into a wrestle with the man firmly grabbing the woman's hair and hands. A concerned bystander then steps in to break up the fight, pushing the attacker away. The motive of the attack is unknown, but witnesses claim the attacker reacted after blaming the woman for smashing his car lights. The Department of Education stated that the government's tuition fee-free policy would be effective in 2015. But in Lae, some parents have raised concerns on why they are still required by schools to pay project fees.
In Lae, the start of the 2015 academic year has drawn serious concerns from parents about project fees imposed on their children attending secondary and primary schools.
All been charging of project fee, which me only want to deposit start me like working deposit lo BSP bank. I'm lo primary school. Now lo secondary too only talking me plan paying project fee to lo me working finish. Now I'm working the primary.
Some of these parents have made the effort of doing their fee deposits before the school's fee deadlines to get their children registered. Others raise concerns on what the government will do now that many have paid their children's 2015 project fees.
Bagaimana tok na mi flexing back money yo? Bagaimana go school na making some tok school na board na kind of met masana kind of to na.
Education department can come out and tell us clearly, especially the parent.
Earlier this year, Education Minister Nick Kuman said that no project fees would be charged on students for the 2015 academic year. Huonville Primary School in Lae has confirmed that it is part of the government's tuition fee-free policy. However, it is still charging project fees on students.
The power has been decentralized to the provincial level. So despite the national government, we go by the provincial education advisor, PPA, Mr. Kit Jaram, saying that project fee must be paid. So until the government has given us enough money, that can be refunded. But otherwise, that will take us through from the start.
Kawage also stated that the project fees are meant to cater for other expenses not met by the government. Colin Barilai, National MTV News, Lae.
Morobe Governor Kelly Naru has again expressed disappointment on the delay in the Lae to Nadab Highway reconstruction. The work started in June last year, but the engineers are competing with Lae's unpredictable weather pattern. The 470 million kina road construction is expected to be completed by 2017.
This is what it looked like 7 months ago. Today, this is what it looks like. The China Railway Company is changing the face of the road between Lae and Najab. But earlier this week, the Morobe Governor, Kelly Naru, told members of various business houses during a forum in Lae that he is disappointed with the progress of work on the highway, which had dragged into its 7th month.
People have their own view, but in my own view, it's progressing at a snail's pace. I would like to see the road progressing a bit more faster.
The work that began last June is expected to be completed by 2017 and will cover at least 40 kilometers between Lae City and Najab Airport.
For the comfort of the traveling public, they're just digging up the highway all over the place, and we just don't know where we are going. At times, this road is full of dust and all this.
Prime Minister Peter O'Neill, who visited Lae on numerous occasions, had also expressed disappointments on the progress of the road construction.
We've spent 60 million kina already. Why is the road not moving? Why is there so much delay?
He has also issued warning for a possible change to the contractors if the delay continues. The new highway is expected to increase traffic efficiency and also improve what is currently a 20-minute journey. Edwin Fidelis, National MTV News, Lae.
The continued killing of West Papuans is contributing to the drastic decline in their population. An advocate of the West Papua campaign in PNG says research has shown that this could mean a total wipeout of this group of people in coming years.
Influential positions.
Jane Parkop has been an advocate for the West Papuan people in PNG since she was a student at the University of PNG in the 1980s. She now heads the committee that deals with West Papuan issues in the country.
We want to save, the West Papuans. We want to save the Melanesians in West Papua. If we don't take actions, there have been some predictions that in the next 50 years, West Papuans will become extinct in this on the face of this earth.
History and experience has shown that when a group of people are displaced from their indigenous land, the survival of their culture is seriously threatened. For the West Papuans, the threat is even more urgent because of the killings of those who remain on their indigenous land.
The West Papuans want to sing their own songs, they want to dance their own dance, They want to feel like people on earth. And this is not what's happening, so...
Support for the call to stop the killings come from around the world, and in PNG the support is growing stronger. Just yesterday, Prime Minister Peter O'Neill called for more support to end the brutality and oppression of the West Papuan people.
We have the moral obligation to speak for those who are not allowed to talk. We must be the eyes for those who are blindfolded.
Gary Jufa, a fellow parliamentarian and strong supporter, shares the same sentiments.
They want to be able to determine their own destiny. They want to live in their own country. And these are Pacific Islanders. In 1952, the content of Melanesians in that half of the island was 98%. Right now, it's down to 48%.
The campaign in PNG has been here since the 1950s.
All get all the support.
For West Papuans living in PNG as refugees, there is progress and some good news on gaining PNG citizenship. The government has removed the 10,000 kina fine that they had to pay before. Efforts are also underway to create a registration committee that will ensure that they are all registered and given the opportunity to gain citizenship.
But government government fosim mipla lombay kishim citizenship. All talking mipla.
It is estimated that there are over 10,000 West Papuans living in the country. For people like Fred, this development towards gaining citizenship is a welcome relief.
Because we can get freedom.
Sarah Aupong, National MTV News.
You're watching National MTV News. We've got True Kind Sports. That's coming up next. We'll bring you updates on the Pacific Games and Stephen Curry's response to Oceania weightlifting head Paul Coffer. Stay tuned.
True Kind Sports.
Welcome to True Kind Sports tonight. To Pacific Games news, American Samoa will be sending a delegation of more than 100 athletes to the Pacific Games in Port Moresby. Athletes will compete in 12 sporting events, including basketball, boxing, rugby, softball, tennis and weightlifting. The American Samoa National Olympic Committee says the cost for each person is approximately 5,000 kina. Fundraising efforts are ongoing for each of the sport federations involved, which have included car washes, walkathons and food sales. Papua New Guinea's Commonwealth gold medalist Stephen Curry brushed aside critics and responded to comments made by Oceania Weightlifting Federation General Secretary Paul Coffer on his decision not to return for training in New Caledonia. Curry said he made 2 attempts to contact Mr. Coffer for his return to the training institute but was unable to because of the misunderstanding.
Papua New Guinea's 21-year-old Commonwealth gold medalist Stephen Curry today cleared the air on comments made by the Oceania Weightlifting Federation General Secretary Paul Coffer. MTV caught up with Curry today at the Hanwabata Weightlifting Club during his training session. Curry claimed in a time span of 2 weeks he attempted calling Coffer several times but was unattended to.
I already made my choice. I have to stay back home. Whether Paul doesn't accept me in the institute the first time that I call his wife, that Lily said, when Paul come up from the gym, then I'll give the number to him. This is your personal number. I said, yeah. And the wife said, okay, no problem. When Paul come down, when Paul comes up to the gym, to the office, and he said, okay, I'll let him know then he's going to contact you, whatever happens. So, yeah, the second time I called him back, and he said, I'm really disappointed at your mother, not you. I said, oh, so the whole point is not me, just my mom.
Due to the negative response, Curry has been training at the Hanwabata Weightlifting Club under coach Douglas Mayer and is focused looking forward to the Pacific Games in July.
I was training hard and I was getting injured, everything. What do you think, am I robot? I always have injury, everything, so I don't have to kneel down and beg them. I have to move on. When they say I'm done with you, I'm done with them too. So I don't want in the politics or anything going well. I just want to stay on my own, focus on the Pacific game, win the gold medal for my country and my family. That's from deep inside for me.
He's happy to train on home ground and will prove Rwanda critics' label against him.
No hard feeling, everything now, it's normal. I decided to stay back, train with my coach now, and I'm happy. I don't spoil him or I don't do anything bad or whatever. Just normal. It's okay.
It's a minor issue, Curry says, and will not let him down, setting eyes on winning gold in the Pacific Games. Rafaela Kaure, National EMTV Sports.
PNG female weightlifter Sandra Rea Ako is back in the country training with Stephen Curry under the watchful eyes of coach Douglas Mayer. 20-year-old Ako from the Hanuabada village in the nation's capital was training in New Caledonia for her Commonwealth Games entry. However, 3 months after sustaining injuries, she now hopes for the best in the coming Pacific Games.
I was in New Caledonia for 6 months preparing for Commonwealth Games. And after Commonwealth Games, we came back. They had to send us back to New Caledonia training for Pacific Games. And we stayed 1 month and then we went back to New Caledonia. So I stayed 3 months there. I had an injury, so I had to tell my coach to come back. So I can't cope with the injury. There's no physios and like that. So I had to come back. But I'm happy I'm back home with the family and happy to train with my coach Douglas Mayer. And I know I can do it for Pacific Games. And we're going for 3 gold medals in the 69 category.
Papua New Guinea's annual SP Sports Awards will be held on the 28th of March 2015 with 12 award categories. These awards recognize sporting achievements from 2014 and are also an opportunity for sports fraternity to come together. Fiji, being one of PNG's biggest threats in the Pacific Games, have also launched their Fiji Sports Awards for 2014. From these awards, Team PNG athletes will be able to identify their biggest competitors. And True Kind Sports continues after the break. Stay with us.
True Kind Sports.
Good to have you back with True Kind Sports. The PNG Football Association's Just Play program is hoping to be bigger and better than last year, with a lot more focus on community initiative and getting more young children involved. The Just Play program, while being football-based, also works as a social responsibility program and uses sports as a tool for development.
With support from Just Play coordinators in New Zealand and support from BSP and the Australian government, reports on the program's progress have been positive. Coordinators like Margaret Aka were part of a coordinators workshop that outlined a rollout program targeting centres throughout the country, including provinces and associations not affiliated with PNGFA. She spoke of the links between PNGFA and Just Play's development program.
Definitely Just Play forms the grassroots level for football. So basically the kids aged between 6 to 12 years old do Just Play, and the same age group kids do the development center program, which is basically football, basic football technique.
Aka reiterated that Just Play was also about the sport's social responsibility and stated the involvement of teachers in the program have also had a positive impact.
Now we train the teachers to go and deliver Just Play, and that's something that they can build into their CVs. And the teachers have been really good with the program, and they're also telling us about positive results from the kids. Attendance is good, and being active. These are some of the things that the results that Just Play can do in schools for kids and teachers.
The program hopes to expand and achieve more mass participation. Jeremy Moggy, National EMTV Sports.
Overseas now, and in Rugby League, it's the new beginning of a new era at the Cronulla Sharks if their attitude at training is anything to go by. After a horror season last year, the club believes they'll be genuine premiership contenders in 2015.
After the mayhem of the Nines last weekend, the NRL pre-season heads into full trial mode this week with 7 matches. Now, one club keen to get back out there after making the final in the Nines are the Cronulla Sharks. After a terrible season last year, they've had a fantastic off-season and they'll take on Manly up at Pittwater. I spoke to both Jeff Robson and Michael Gordon about this weekend's trial.
Flano's come back in and, he's chomping at the bit to, get us rolling off to a good start, and, all the boys are buying into it, and, I'm just really excited about the roster that we've got this year, and hopefully playing some good footy.
You want to get in and have a bit of a hit out, but you don't want to go too hard, and you want to be fresh for round one. So it's I suppose blowing the cobwebs out, trying to get a few combinations together, and then just having a bit of game simulation.
After the dramas of last year with injuries and suspension, the Sharks struggled to field a team through the last few rounds, but they start this season with the almost opposite, an embarrassment of riches. And I spoke to both players about that today, about their roster and about how many players they have available to start this NRL season.
Our squad this year is incredible, considering where we come from last year. We had that many injuries, and to have majority of the boys on deck. We're resting a few this week after the Nines, but majority on deck.
Last year we had a decent side on paper, but we couldn't get them out there every week. So that'll be the big key for us, is getting all them players you mentioned playing at least 20 games, and that'll give us a real chance of going a long way.
Such is the luxury here at the Sharks. They go into the trial this weekend without skipper Paul Gallen, without stand-in skipper Wade Graham. Michael Ennis will also sit it out, as will Andrew Fafita, and the team will be skippered by Jeff Robson, and he said it's a job he's happy to do.
And that report wraps up our True Kind Sports segment for tonight. The weather details after these short messages. Stay with us.
True Kind Sports. True Kind Sports.
This weather information is brought to you by Tablebirds.
A quick look at the weather forecast for tonight and tomorrow in southern region. Port Moresby fine, although cloudy at times. In Momase, a few showers expected in Lae City. In the New Guinea Islands, all centres to anticipate a shower or two. And lastly, in the Highlands region, light variable winds except in Mount Hagen, cloudy weather. Forecast for small ships, there is a renewal of strong wind warning current for all coastal waters of the country, except for Cape Vogel to Wasu Point to Finschhafen and all Milne Bay Islands. Recapping our main news again before we go. Exxon Mobil announces successful financial completion of LNG Project. Also, department heads for Treasury and Community Development confirmed. And Daro Hospital summons provincial leaders for negligence. Well, that's been National MTV News this Friday. You'll be joined by Meribatullah on the weekend, and I'll see you again on Monday. From the news team, I'm Tokana Hasavi. You take care and have a good night.